Trouble, also known as Doggone Trouble, is a 2019 computer-animated comedy family film, directed by Kevin Johnson, and starring Big Sean Anderson, Pamela Adlon, and Lucy Hale. It was the final film role of Betty White before her death in 2021. The film was distributed by Lantern Entertainment internationally, while Lionsgate holds the French and Spanish distribution rights. Netflix acquired American distribution rights to the film. It was released on May 28, 2021 on the streaming service. Trouble is a pampered dog, living the good life in a mansion with his wealthy, elderly owner, Mrs. Sarah Vanderwhoozie, under the care of her loyal butler, James, and famed animal trainer Cesar Millan. One day, after his owner dies due to natural causes, he is left alone and unaware in her mansion. Claire and Norbert, Mrs. Vanderwhoozie's niece and nephew, arrive to claim their inheritance. While discarding of her belongings and planning to sell other items that are priceless, they accidentally and unknowingly get rid of Trouble, whom they show instant dislike and apathy towards. Nevertheless, in order to rightfully inherit their aunt's fortune, Claire and Norbert must first be willing and able to bond and take care of Trouble within 3 days, until they can sign the contract entrusted by their aunt's lawyer, Mr. McBain, much to their reluctance. Realizing that Trouble is missing, they hire Thurman Sanchez, an expert animal tracker, to find him in time before the deadline. Having made it out of the truck carrying away his owner's belongings, and after learning the truth about her death, Trouble accidentally messes up a group of squirrels' nut storage in their tree. As payback, the squirrels steal his collar and run off, leaving Trouble lost, alone, and looking like a stray. In the city, Trouble meets a stray dog named Rosie while trying to get a meal from a meat truck, which results in a chase through a restaurant owned by famed chef Ludo Lefebvre. A wannabe singer pizza delivery girl named Zoe Bell also loses one of her pizzas. After another encounter with the squirrels while spending the night with Rosie outdoors, Trouble enters a dog park where he meets domestic dogs Norm, Gizmo, Bella, and Tippy, who somewhat help him find a home by having him play in traffic, where he gets picked up by Zoe and is taken to her apartment. Though only temporary until she can find where he belongs, and hoping to avoid her landlord finding out, Zoe and Trouble begin to bond. Zoe writes a song for a singing competition she plans to enter, and fashions a new collar for Trouble. The next day, at the dog park, despite some rocky first impressions, Norm and the other dogs willingly help Trouble when they find out that the squirrels took his old collar while confronting him again. During the struggle, Thurman, having found Trouble at last, accidentally snatches the leader of the squirrels, with whom he offers to make a deal, a pile of nuts in exchange for their help in retrieving Trouble for him. After Zoe momentarily leaves Trouble at her apartment, the squirrels try to flush him out, causing a huge mess, which results in Zoe being evicted by her landlord upon returning. Trouble is sent to the dog pound, where he meets Rosie again and befriends 3 other strays, Snoop, Otis, and Caramel. Trouble learns from Rosie that, like him, she was once an indoor dog. However, one day, after saving her owner's child from a traffic collision, they mistook her heroic behavior for aggression and dumped her at the pound, which explains Rosie's distrust of humans. On the day of the deadline, rather than enter the singing competition, Zoe decides to go to the pound and retrieve Trouble. However, Thurman has already beaten her to it. Zoe rides off, looking for Trouble all over the city. Realizing how much Zoe truly loves and cares about Trouble, Rosie decides to help the others escape and help Zoe find him. They use Trouble's discarded new collar to track him, and with the help of the domestic dogs as well. Returning Trouble to Claire and Norbert at the mansion, Thurman secretly vows retaliation with the squirrels' help after the twins refuse to pay him as promised. Having misled Mr. McBain that they bonded with Trouble, Claire and Norbert are about to claim their inheritance when Zoe suddenly arrives, revealing what really happened. Demanding his money, Thurman enters and further reveals the situation to Mr. McBain. Having learned the truth, Mr. McBain denies the twins' inheritance. Still wanting his money, Thurman summons the squirrels to hold Trouble for ransom, until Snoop, Otis, and Caramel enter. Having followed Rosie, a battle ensues. While Trouble is held against a fan by the squirrel leader, Rosie arrives just in time to save his life. She demands Trouble's old collar back before the squirrels exit. Trouble is then granted permission by Mr. McBain to decide whom he wants his owner to be. Trouble joyfully chooses Zoe, which allows her to inherit Trouble, the mansion, the assets, and his owner's fortune after signing the contract, much to the twins' disgust. They and Thurman leave. Rosie is also adopted by James, much to her joy. Zoe uses the money to revitalize the dog park, renamed the Vanderwhoozie Dog Park, and dedicated to both Mrs. Vanderwhoozie and Trouble. She also begins living her dream as a singer, attracting the attention of famed singer-songwriter Jason Mraz. Snoop, having probably been adopted by Zoe, along with Otis and Caramel, proceeds to sing in dedication of Trouble, much to the dog's joy.